Welcome back to the channel. Today we are preparing the body for King Pigeon Pose. Pigeon Pose is a very common pose you see being done a lot in yoga classes. King Pigeon is the advanced version of this pose. Now, I always see some crazy hip alignment when I see humans doing King Pigeon. So in this video, I'm going to cover alignment techniques, corrective exercises, and stretches that are specific for you to land not only a beautiful pigeon or King Pigeon, but also keep the hips properly aligned and keep your body safe as you're going through these advanced poses. So this video will answer a lot of questions in regards to the hip alignment, drills that you can practice, and then at the end, I'm going to help you land that King Pigeon or a variation of it. So let's get started. Grab your yoga mats. I'm double padded because we will be on the knees, and you can make sure that you grab a yoga block because we will be using a yoga block today. We're starting the stretches out with the yoga block. So go ahead and grab your yoga block. I have a pretty thick one. You can double up your yoga block if it's a little bit thin, or you can place it the more taller weight. Just make sure you have nice support with the yoga block. So you're going to come to lay down on your back. You're going to slide the yoga block underneath the sacrum or underneath the hip. It's not the low back. Make sure that the low back is exposed so you have that nice little curve here in that low back. Bring your legs together. We're going to start alignment now. So we're going to start to align the body. Legs are together, big toes are together, heels are a little bit apart. Your knees should be touching, okay? You should be squeezing. Squeeze your thighs a little bit, okay? You want to keep your legs in this direction. The reason I'm saying this is because you want to keep your pigeon pose aligned. You want to keep your hips aligned, and bringing your legs into center into your body is going to help you start to create that alignment. You're going to lengthen the left leg first, stretch it all the way down, and you're going to flex your foot towards your nose. You're going to stretch the back of your ankle in dorsiflexion. So you have that length into the calf and you have that long leg. Now, let's start with these alignment corrections. Don't let your foot fall outward. Turn your toes in a little bit. This is so the hips can get nice and straight. Most people are pointed out with the toe. So make sure your toe is a little bit drawn in towards the right. Flex that ankle. Get a stretch into the back of that ankle. Take a few deep breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. Start to relax your belly a little bit so you can stretch it a bit. Right now we're passive, we're not using our core. Take one more deep breath here. Keep that flexion of the foot. And then release the flexion, point the toe straight, and keep turning that left leg internally just a little bit. Breathe, inhale into that belly. We're not drawing the core back just yet. We are going to need the core, but right now you're stretching into this lower abdominal area so you can really get loose in the front of the hips. Toes are pointed. Take another inhale and exhale. Bring the leg back in. Let's switch it over to the other side. Lengthen the right leg, flex that right foot, toes are towards your nose. Turn the foot a little bit inward. Keep this left leg inward towards you too. Nice and in line. Hold it here, inhales and exhales, deep breathing. We're not getting straight into a hip flexor stretch. We're going to slowly allow the front side of the body to expand and open. You're prepping your body for King Pigeon. You have to be patient. Point the toes forward. Keep the leg rotated inward. Nice deep breathing. Low back is relaxed. King Pigeon is an extension. So we are getting that slight extension in now, that little curve in the low back. It is very essential in the King Pigeon. Bring your foot back in. Keep the knees together. Keep the toes together, heels apart. Walk your toes, feet a little bit more forward. Flex the ankles and lift up and away from the block into a high bridge with the inner thighs squeezing towards each other. Trust me, squeeze your inner thighs as much as possible. It's going to be a revelation when you find out why it is essential. One more deep breath here. Holding in this bridge, squeezing the thighs on the heels. Release and lower down. Take the block from in between the thighs out. Place the block in between the upper inner thighs. You're going to rotate your leg bones a little bit in. What I did was I grabbed the back of my high hamstring, turned it in, grabbed the back of my high hamstring, turned it in, squeezing into the block, flexion of the feet, thighs towards block, lift the hip up off the ground. Keep that foot in flexion, keep those heels pressing, and keep trying to lift those hips as high as possible. High, high, high hip bridge. The heel pressure is going to let you get that lift. Not many bridges are done on the heel. I only do bridges on the heels. There's no other way for me to feel it. Obviously, you can feel it. And the lift is just so much higher than with the foot on the ground. This is for exercise, for practice. Release. We're gonna do one more. Inner thighs are pressing. Feet are in flexion. Drive those heels into the ground. Lift those hips as high as possible. Keep squeezing those upper inner thighs. Trust me, I will explain why you need your inner thighs. You will see a little anatomical picture up top of the inner thighs and how they connect directly to your pelvis. So they are a big game player in King Pigeon and in a lot of poses. We just don't acknowledge them. Release. Oof, fire. Get the block from in between the thighs out. We're going to unlock the hips a little bit. Feet are flat on the ground. The left leg goes over the right, all the way through, covered completely, not figure forward. Send it to the left side. Pressure of that top leg down into the bottom leg. Stretching that side body hip. Keep your hip as low as possible. Don't hike your hip too far up. It's not a spinal twist where you're like this. Don't do that. Keep the body, upper body down. Keep the ribs down. Press this top leg to create that stretch you're looking for. What we're trying to stretch is the outer hip, the IT band. We're trying to mobilize the leg bones to make it a lot more comfortable in that pigeon position. Releasing back to the center. Go over to the other side. Right leg over left. All right. Top leg pushes down. Left hip stays pretty low. You're going to go ahead and stretch it to the right side. Notice that it's not a spinal twist. My hip is about 2 inches from the ground, not even so much. I'm really pressing this top leg down into this bottom leg. Shoulder is still connected. Getting that hip IT band stretch. Breathe. Inhale and exhale here for one more deep breath. We're mobilizing those leg bones. We're gonna get them moving a little bit better in the hip. Return back to the center. Unravel your legs, okay? You're going to stretch these legs out. You're going to touch the top of the big toes. You're going to separate your heels quite a bit. I'm going to have a picture up top or a little image up top so you can see what it looks like from the up view. You're going to look to your knees. You're going to make sure that the knees are pointed nice and inward a little bit, aligned. Both the knees are leveled. The toes are touching. I'm going to go ahead and internally rotate a little bit more. Lift the leg up. You're going to have a description up there so you can notice internal rotation. Lift, internal rotation. Lower. Thighs are squeezing. Hold it here. We're once again activating these upper inner thighs. A lot of inner thighs involved. I'm definitely catching you guys off guard with this. Flex those ankles, stretch those toes towards your nose as much as possible. Squeeze the upper inner thighs as much as possible. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale here. One more. You're holding tension. Holding tension to strengthen and also unlock the hips. Release. Shake them off. Move them around. We're done with the supine or face up round. We're gonna go ahead and turn it over into a tabletop. So you're going to come into a tabletop. You're going to grab your yoga block. You're going to place it at the low back level. Now don't tuck your tail in, okay? Give yourself a little bit of curve in the low back, all right? I'm going to do my right leg first. Your right leg will lengthen, okay? Move a little bit more here. Right leg will lengthen. You gotta keep that block leveled, okay? You're gonna point those right toes back and you're gonna start to lift the leg up without hiking your hip up. You're gonna try to see how high you can lift that leg. This is your extension. This is what's gonna help you reach your head towards your king pigeon or your foot towards your head. Keep that leg lifting, 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 lifting. You're gonna squeeze that glute. You're getting a little bit of a glute burn in here. You want that. Keep lifting a little higher. Can you get your leg up like this? Is this challenging for you? If it is, you wanna practice this. This is very important. Release. This is that length in that pigeon position. Lengthen that left leg. Block is steady on the low back, all right? Then you're gonna lift, 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 and lengthen. Squeezing that glute. Your core is bracing now. So now you're gonna have to start to brace the core a little bit. Press your chest away, keep lifting, lifting, lifting. Each side is different. You may lift more on one side than the other. The yoga block is steady. This is so you can avoid hiking your hip up, okay? So the yoga block must stay on at a level position, okay? Lift a little higher, 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 higher. Get the most out of that extension. Your glute is gonna burn. My leg is shaking. Release. Let's go for the other side again. You're gonna lengthen that right leg. Lift that foot. Point those toes back. Lift high, 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 high. You're gonna find your end range without knocking out your block. You're gonna bend that knee. You're gonna lift those toes up as high as you can. Point those toes towards your nose. Brace your core. Keep lifting, 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 lifting as high as you can. Your glute is gonna burn like crazy, and then release. Let's go to the other side. Do you understand why we're doing this? This leg length, this is that position that you get here, all right? So check in. You want this. You wanna have that length. Block is here. Left leg lengthening, 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 lengthening. Core is braced. Keep lifting, lifting, lifting. Bend that knee. Lift up higher, 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 higher as you keep your hip leveled. The block is your cue. Keep lifting. This side is shaking so much. Each side is so different. Be aware of which side is more challenging. And release. I'm not doing child's pose. I'm not going into any type of flexion. I'm doing only extension and glutes and inner thighs. So get the block from in between the thighs. Get the block from... Get your block off. Come back up again. All right. Let's come into a kneeling position. You're gonna come into kneeling. You're going to have your yoga block with you. And you're going to go ahead. Left foot is forward. All right. Now, hold here for a moment. We're going to take the time to align this here. So I want you to see my hip alignment, okay? Block behind the head, lift the chest up a little bit. Point the elbows straight and look up. Push the head into the block. Take a nice deep breath. This is gonna get your triceps activated. It's gonna get your upper back in an extension. Release. Good. Let's do that once more, okay? Hands go over, and you're going to lift and look up. Just get a little upper back lift. Elbows are pointing towards the center. You're reclining your head back towards your block. Take a nice deep breath. Release. All right, we got a little bit of an upper back release. Now, let's check this leg. Now, as you can tell, my foot is not in like this, okay? This is not going to give you a hip flexor stretch, so get the foot in front of you. A little bit, not under the knee, a little bit more forward, okay? Now, yoga block on the left side. Bend this left knee forward. Stay on your heel. Do not lift your heels. Do not go into your toes. Press your heel into the ground, okay? And then slowly start to bend into a deeper range of this left knee. Now let's talk. This is where we start to really feel the stretches, okay? The hip flexor. You can stay holding here. We're going to be holding for a little bit. This is like ballet style. When they teach dancers have to be there holding for a very long time. They have to practice their stretches. They have to practice their drills. So you freeze right here. I'm going to go over some alignment stuff and also little alignment tips that you can see up top. You want to make sure that this right hip is not open to the right, okay? This is not alignment. The alignment is when the right hip is driven forward to the front. So you're driving, it's just like a car. The car is not driving sideways, the car is driving forward. Your legs are your tires. Your tires are to the front. All right, you're breathing. I have my hand on the block on the left side. I have the block lifted and lengthened. Beautiful. Keep pressing into that left knee. Keep sinking your hips down slowly, lifting your upper body, reaching that right hand to the back of that right hamstring. Keep that right shoulder forward to the front. Don't let it go open. Forward shoulder, upward lift of the upper body, a little gaze up, just like we did. Except we don't have the block to help us now. Now, release that left hand and place that left hand on top of the right. Keep the shoulders nice and open. Look up. One more deep breath here. Remember, you're not on your toes, you are on your heels. Please be on your heels. And then releasing, left hand to the block, right hand to the right hip. Bring this left knee back. And you're going to go ahead. We're gonna set up for another pose. Take a little break here. Go ahead and relax for a moment. Then we're going to bend that left knee again. Sink into it. Yoga block is going to come into the right hand now. If you don't need the yoga block, that's fine. Just try to keep your hip aligned. That's the most important part. Remember, we're trying to land that king pigeon with nice, even hips. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the block. Remember, you can put your block flat if you need to. Modification. I'm gonna release. Right toes are gonna come towards your glute. Important, keep that left knee nice and aligned, okay? Look to the left. Bring the right toes as much as you can towards you and reach with your left hand. Go ahead and stretch that. Try not to let your legs fall outward. Try to keep that left knee driven as straight as possible. And that left hand is softly pulling that foot towards your glute. You're gonna lift the chest up. Nice lift in the upper body. You need that lift for king pigeon. So open your heart up, open your chest up, lift up, look up. One more. We're almost done here. Releasing. Slowly, let that left leg hinge back, left hip hinges back. You're gonna lift your upper body up. with good control. Hands on hips, left knee goes back. We have the other side. Almost there. Right foot is forward. Now remember, the right foot is not here. It's a little bit more to the front. Grab your yoga block, hands on them, place it behind, elbows forward, look up. Remember that your left hip is driven straight because we are opening the left side now. So don't let that left hip open to the left, okay? Look up a little bit more. Keep your thighs squeezing towards each other. Remember that left hip is straight. Release. We're gonna do a double check. Hands behind, another round. Elbows are in, upper back lifting, 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 lifting. Holding on to the block. Extension of your upper body. Let your head relax into the block. The block is supporting the head now. You're not gonna have that support when you're actually in the King Pigeon. So just feel this out now. You wanna have that strength. You wanna have that support without the block. Awareness of that support. Releasing. Beautiful. Now, you have the right foot a little bit more forward to get that length into the hip flexor. Remember, you're not on the toes. Please, please, I can already see people doing that. Get these poses correctly. I always call it training like an influencer. If you want to look flawless, you have to do all these little detailed stuff, okay? So you have heel, right foot. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the block here on this side, bending into that right knee, lifting the chest up. I have my left hand on the left hip, driving that left hip straight forward, okay? So make sure that the left hip is not to the left. Driven, car drives straight. The alignment of the car is always placed straight. I'm going to be taking the block from this side so you can see side body angle. You're breathing, you're inhaling and exhaling. Your knee is not falling to the outside. Your knee is driven in and straight. This is a whole workout on its own, you know? The hand is holding the block. You're lifting and lengthening, reaching, 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 reaching. I'm shaking. I'm shaking just by keeping the hips in a square. Now, the reason I brought up inner thighs is in the beginning is because you're using them right now to keep your hip in alignment, okay? So the inner thighs are your helper for your alignment. I have a whole blog on that and workout tips on that too. You can check that out also on the channel and on the website. Ooh, shaking so much. Side is totally different. Each side is so different. Just embrace each side. Okay, we're keeping the work going. Left hand, left hamstring, lifting and looking up. Keeping that left hip square, breathing. Then releasing the right hand, placing it on top of the left, opening your chest up, reclining back, keeping that knee bend, that left hip aligned, looking up. So much trembling. Make sure that right heel and the whole right foot is connected. Don't get that heel on the right up. Take 2 more deep breaths. One more. Right hand releases, left hand, you're gonna draw it back. Give it a little shake. We're going into that next stretch. Okay, we're almost there. We're going to be practicing that King Pigeon. So challenging, I'm sweating already. So block goes on to the other side. You're going to bend into that right knee. We're still in the same position. Hip flexors are no joke. When I did my anatomy dissection, it was no joke. There's a lot involved in that area. When you remove the skin and you look at the muscles and the fascia and the joints, Really changes the perspective on the way the body moves. Drop that block if you need to. Remember, the knee is not falling out. It's not a lizard. You're driving it in. We're driving straight because you want the king pigeon to be straight. All right. Now I'm going to let go of this block. Put my fist on here. Left foot is going to bend. Beautiful. You're reaching, reaching, reaching the foot as far as you can towards you. Reach with that right hand. Squeeze that foot towards you. My right knee is coming out a little bit. I just corrected it. Breathing. Take a peek at that left hip. Make sure it's forward to the front. Pull it in as much as you can. The stretches, when they're aligned, they're supposed to be very deep. It's supposed to be challenging. There's no easy way into anything. Doing things correctly is harder than doing things incorrectly. Doing things incorrectly is easy. It's slack, you know. Having that awareness of the body movements, having that alignment, trying to hold it, it's a game changer. You're gonna feel different. You're gonna feel these stretches at another level. One more deep breath. And release. Pull that right knee back. Super shaky. Totally worth it. You'll be ready. Bring that knee. Shake it off a little bit. Move that hip around. We're gonna get set up for pigeon. Work through some stretches. And then we'll try to land the king pigeon, okay? So, tabletop plank pose. Hold your plank as strong as possible. Eyes in between the thumb, chest is pressing away. Now you're gonna bring right knee to the right wrist, untuck the foot. This is another little pre-stretch, okay? Keep the left toes tucked in. Press that left hip down towards the ground. Lower that left knee. Bring that left foot towards you. Hug it in towards you. Give it a stretch. Another stretch. So it's left leg back. And then, it's left leg back. Right hand reaching. Okay? Try to grab that leg as much as possible. Try to stretch it as deep as possible towards you. Don't worry, we're gonna go to the other side very quickly here before we enter that pigeon. A little extra stretch here. It almost resembles mermaid pose, but you're kind of getting your hips aligned, you know? I'm gonna teach you how to do the mermaid pose with the hip alignment as part of the series today. Release, plank held correctly, core is activated. Left knee, left wrist, left foot is untucked, toes are tucked in the back, chest is nice and open. Right leg is very lengthened. Breathing, holding it here. That hip flexor. That hip is forward. Don't let it open to the side. Push it down a little bit. Look to the left. Keep that back knee lift. Keep those quads lengthened. Feel that glute. Feel how when you really extend that leg, press it up, you feel that glute fire up. That glute is essential for a lot of things, for yoga. Yoga teachers aren't known for having very big butts, very nice strong butts. That's more fitness, but you gotta try to implement these alignment corrections into the yoga practice so you can build those strong legs, that glute. It's very essential, very important. Release the right knee. Bring that right foot towards you. And then you're gonna go ahead and grab. Chest is lifted, you're looking to the left a little bit. You're really pulling that leg towards your glutes. Inhaling and exhaling. And like I mentioned, the inner thigh in the beginning was because trying to keep the hip aligned and driven straight requires that inner thigh. Now gently releasing, going to a plank pose. All right, it's pigeon time. It's here. Hold this plank for a second. Rock those heels back and forth. Get this core fired up. All right, hold still. I'm not going to adjust the leg bone in pigeon. Rule number 1. I'm going to show you how to get into it through muscle tension, not repositioning of legs. Now, right knee, right elbow, bring it up as high as you can. Cross that ankle to the left as hard as you can. Keep that leg up, big core workout. Lower down like this. Do not adjust. Don't adjust. Do not move the leg. This is where you are. If you're not here, or if you don't have a specific range, don't force the body part. It's not going to do anything for you, you know? The alignment is going to help you realign, so that way you have freedom in your joints to move. So don't fix. Let's go through that again. I'm going to do that one more time, okay? Give it your best in regards to your core tension. Tuck the toe, press away, right knee, right elbow, bring it up high, cross the foot as hard as you can, inner thigh working, lower down. If you need to reposition, do it that way. We're here in the pigeon. Block in front of you, leg in the back very long, looking and lifting up, elbows are nice and lengthened. Breathing. I mean, I don't think you thought it was going to be this hard to prep for King Pigeon, but it is. If you want it to look good, if you want to be safe in it, you got to do these little works. You got to do it. This is what makes a difference to someone who is really athletic, who really works towards physical goals, you know? Sometimes we just want something, but there's details behind that something. Behind every big movement, there's intricate little movements that support your big ones. That is a quote. Now we're stretching again. I got my hand on here. Left foot towards you. I'm getting that hip alignment. Reach with your right hand, okay? Now, stretch that foot towards you. Your left hip is to the front, is driven to the front. Breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. Release. We're going to go for mermaid pose, okay? Now, in mermaid, a lot. If you lift that left hip and you let it open to the left, you will fall. I see it all the time in class. I see it happen to everyone. I'm avoiding that by doing this first stretch that we did, where your left hip is forward and it's not open, okay? I would say hip closers instead of hip openers. So left foot towards you. Do not let that left hip lift. You'll see mine. Left hand, reach it back, okay? You're gonna go ahead and wrap that arm, all right? We're getting into the more complex pieces of the poses. If you're good in pigeon and you cannot do anymore, stay in pigeon, okay? And wait for the other side, try your best, grab a block, okay? Wrap the hand, do your best, okay? Practice, practice, practice. Come back to the video, keep practicing. Left hand, hip is stable, you can see, it's not too open. Right hand reaches, arm is long, looking up, reaching that arm, grabbing and lifting just like we did in the block, reclining that head back, keeping that chest semi-forward. There's an internal slight rotation in that left leg. Beautiful. One more deep breath here. I lie, hold it for one more. and release. All right, let's get through this. We got the final. Modifications, optional. Hands into it. Inner thighs are gonna start to work now because you're gonna need to squeeze your inner thighs towards each other to brace that hip. Chest is upright and lifted. Toes come towards you, head goes back. Thighs are squeezing. Right hand reaches. Left hand reaches. Squeezing thighs. Releasing. Moment there. Step it back. Hips go back and up into a down dog. Right leg sweep it up just for a little bit of a stretch. Release the right foot. Shift forward your plank. Remember the positioning, okay? Chest is pressing away. Very strong core. Left knee, left elbow lifted as high as possible. Core workout. Cross that left leg to the right side. Lift the core up. Then lower. We did 2 on the other side. I'm going to go for another one for an even deeper repositioning. Remember, you're not moving the leg bone. Tuck the toe, lift up, cross that leg. Land it. Lower. Breathing. If you're working towards your King Pigeon, you'd want to do this at least 2 times a week. At least. This deep opening of the hip, these alignment stretches, these alignment points, lifting the chest up, breathing. Awesome. Recline the head back a little bit. Lengthen those shoulders down. Release it. Bend that right knee. Reach your left hand. Right hand on the ground. Left hand towards that foot. Breathing, inhaling, stretching that leg as much as you can towards you. One more deep inhale and exhale here. Last one. Releasing. Lifting the chest up. Remember, for mermaid, that hip stays forward, not open, although we call them hip openers. Your hip is mechanically, technically square and closed to the front. Now, mermaid pose, chest is nice and lifted, right toes come towards you. Remember, that right hip is not, don't fall to that left side. Keep those inner thighs squeezing. That's why we squeeze those inner thighs. If you're having trouble with this, you gotta do the first part where you squeeze your inner thighs, because that means you gotta strengthen them to stay imbalanced. So reach. Bring it in. All right. Notice my hip. Okay. I didn't let it fall. Chest is up. Look up. Reaching. And then grabbing. Head leans back just like we did on the block into the tricep. The tricep is in. We're still warming that tricep up for King Pigeon. Awesome, beautiful. Inhaling and exhaling. One more. I lied. Another one. Releasing. You ready? Stay here if you feel good. You can practice the foot here If you need to, you can practice yoga block foot here. Okay. We're going for full. I'm gonna bring yoga block to stack, lift, recline back. Left hand reaches, tricep is in. Right hand reaches. One more. Release. Push back. Left leg back. Beautiful. Releasing forward, plank pose. Hold this plank pose. We did extension. Just work the counter muscles. 2 more. Last one. Release the knees. Child's pose. Such great work for paying attention to the details. Even more important and more congratulations to understanding that you need to do the little things and the work to be able to land these advanced poses. Remember, you're maintaining your body in proper alignment. The proper alignment is going to keep your body safe. And as you see, the poses look flawless. They look beautiful, properly aligned. Come back, practice, drill it, land it. Tell me what you think about it. Subscribe. Check out the rest of the videos that are full of corrections and alignments that are going to help you get the most out of your workouts and your poses.